I've had this thing for like 6 months and I wanted to give you an honest review. Is this thing still worth it? I think it's important to note nobody's paying me to do this, but I wish there was a video like this when I was buying this thing. So to start off, back to the durability test. Nothing. We're testing level 2 here. That's crazy. Like nothing happened. Huh. So yeah, this thing actually is incredibly solid. I was kind of shocked that no wear and tear has been seen on that at all from smashing it around pretty hard. So that's pretty cool. That being said, it does have some wear from the fire. A lot of this turned color. It's got like this kind of like rust color on the outside. This was the stainless steel version. What this stuff is made out of, I don't really know, and you can look up that on your own time. But the main thing is that I've noticed that while this does get kind of greasy, especially when I do a lot of cooking on here, I cook on this thing like 3 to 5 times a week, and it does have like this entire thing is just covered in grease, and some of it drips down the side. It rusts a little bit. It's been outside all winter in the snow. That being said, it's in really solid shape. I feel like this thing did what I wanted it to do, and it was not cheap, but I feel like I wasn't scammed. I feel like this was pretty solid. There's a couple pros and cons which I want to touch on, including if this thing was worth it, the griddle. But overall, the fire pit itself does what I want a fire pit to do. The smokeless part is kind of true, kind of not true. When there's things that are smoky, like when you're starting the fire, or if it's just like kind of tailing out and there's not a lot of flame, there is going to be smoke. But as long as a decent flame is going, there's not really a lot of smoke with that. So again, I would say, you know, the smokeless part, relatively true, or at least as true as I would think it would be. It is way easier to start than a traditional like fire pit like this because of all the airflow. These right here are super helpful. So we're kind of building the fire on the middle, and then the airflow comes from around, which is pretty awesome. And I'll just say, like, the overall experience with this has been really fun. So like if you're thinking it would be fun to cook your food outside, which I think is probably going to be for most of us the reason why we buy this thing. Part of it is for the fire and the smoke and whatever, but part of it is because like it's pretty fun to cook outside. And let me tell you, I've cooked outside, like I said, 3 to 5 times a week, probably 3 times a week on average on this thing, and it's so much fun. Like getting this going, making something with your hands, like starting the fire with your hands. I don't use like lighter fluid for the most part, except for like if the wood's like soaked. And I just make that, get it going. It takes like 15-20 minutes. Throw the griddle on top. That thing kind of, you know, gets going, gets hot, and then make you a lot of steak, sausages, and bacon, and hamburgers, and, you know, we've done breakfast, we've done pancakes, I made flatbread on there, a lot of stuff like that. And it's really, really fun, and I think the food tastes a lot better because it's like very rewarding. So I don't know if it's a psychological thing, but it's really fun doing this. It's kind of like I have some sweat tents that I use, and just the experience of lighting the fire and making your own thing is actually an experience in itself. So if you're thinking of cooking outside more, I would highly recommend that. It doesn't have anything to do with this really, but cooking outside has just been like a really common experience for me. I think the food tastes a lot better, like the steaks, and they get like really red hot on this like cast iron. Not red hot, I guess, but like it gets a nice sear to it, and then the inside's good. Like burgers taste better. A lot of things taste a lot better on this than I believe on some other things. I actually got rid of my grill. Well, this is all I use pretty much. I have a griddle as well, but I don't even use that as much as I use this all the time for everything, and it's replaced, you know, you don't have to buy a grill. Literally. Before we get to reviewing the cast iron thing and the attachments that I ended up getting, I have not tried all the other ones that comes with it. There's an array of stuff on there. Breeo, if you're watching, please send me some. I would love to do a review of any of that stuff because, again, I use it constantly. Let's talk about this right here, which I'm not going to touch because it is covered in grease, which is one of the slightly more annoying parts of this. Is I'm probably not doing a good job cleaning it, let's be honest. But this is kind of greasy on the handle, so as long as I use a glove, it's totally fine, honestly, but it gets greasy on the handles. That being said, the rest of it, it's really easy to clean because you put it on here, it gets nice and hot, you pour some water, you scrape it off, and it's just pretty much clean, you're good to go. So you do that at the end of cooking or at the beginning of cooking the next time, and that's generally pretty good. I just leave this thing outside because, again, I'm getting it hot and just searing it off, so I don't care if it gets dirty. It stayed in relatively good shape, and I think that was definitely worth it. It's very versatile. I can cook a lot of things on it, like I said, so that's been good. I also got the little scooper thing, which is good for clearing this out because I don't know how you would clear it out without that. It's kind of heavy to, you know, move and tip somewhere or something. So I would say the scooper is probably worth it. I also got the lid. I did lose the other screw for this lid, which sucks, but I believe it's just a regular screw, so I'm just gonna find another one. I would say this lid is also worth it as well, just because if it's damp and wet and it's raining in there and all that type of stuff, it just makes the fire a lot harder to start. I've forgotten to put the lid on a couple times, a lot harder to start the fire. So I would just say, common sense, a lid's probably worth it as well. So that's all I got. Overall, this is premium product, I would say, but 24-inch Series X, I would say worth it. All the stuff that I got, I'm really happy with it. I've gotten my use out of it. I wouldn't say it's probably worth it if you're just using it as a fire pit. Seems like a lot, but if you're gonna cook on there and stuff like that, I would think a no-brainer as long as you use it consistently, because it replaced pretty much everything for me. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, there's a link down below. You can watch some other reviews on my channel. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. Thanks for watching.